Hello everyone, today I'm going to continue telling you the story of the single mother, Hoai. I hope you enjoy the video. Hoai woke up today when the sky was still dim, the night dew still clinging to the vegetable leaves in the garden. She hurriedly threw on an old coat and stepped into the familiar patch of land. The vegetables were ready for harvest. If she waited even one more day, they would grow tough and be hard to sell. So she had to make use of every minute. She bent down gently, her hands skillfully trimming each bundle of greens and gathering them into small bunches. Every bundle was tied neatly, shaken free of soil, and placed carefully into the bamboo basket. The vegetables were astonishingly fresh that morning, as if awakened by the dawn mist. Seeing the result of her own hard work, a small warmth rose in her heart. After finishing the harvest, she checked each bunch once more before lifting the basket and heading to the market. The road was still quiet, only her footsteps and the distant hum of a few motorbikes. As soon as she laid out the vegetables at her stall, customers noticed them right away. The green, clean, fresh bundles drew everyone's eyes. People praised how beautiful and fresh they were, carrying the fragrance of the early morning dew. Gradually, more customers gathered, buying enthusiastically, some even asked her to bring more the next day. Watching her basket empty so quickly erased all the fatigue from before dawn, it left only a warm sense of being appreciated. Her entire basket sold out in no time, so fast she hadn't even had a chance to sit down and catch her breath. As the market settled and people thinned out, she began tying leftover strings and arranging her bamboo basket to prepare for the walk home. A soft breeze brushed her clothes, carrying with it the faint scent of the morning sun over the fading marketplace. Just as she bent down to tidy up, she heard slow, dragging footsteps. She looked up to see an elderly disabled woman approaching. The old lady wore worn-out clothes, leaning on a crooked wooden crutch. Each step looked painfully heavy, as though it required all the strength she had left. Her tangled silver hair was tied with an old cloth string, her clouded eyes still holding a gentle warmth. She stopped in front of Hoai, her bony hands trembling as she opened a stack of lottery tickets. Her voice was hoarse with exhaustion. "Dear, could you buy a few for me? I haven't sold much at all this morning." Hoai saw how thin the woman's hand was, the veins showing clearly beneath the skin. Seeing how tired and frail she looked, she couldn't bring herself to refuse. She opened her wallet, using what little money she had made that morning to buy several tickets. But when she noticed the old lady swaying from heat and hunger, concern tugged at her heart. She hurried to a nearby stall, bought a cold bottle of water and 2 warm loaves of bread fresh from the oven. When Hoai handed them over, the old woman froze for a moment, then her eyes shimmered. Her hands shook uncontrollably as she accepted them, murmuring heartfelt thanks, her voice wavering as though she might cry. To her, it wasn't just water and bread, it was kindness she hadn't felt in a long time. Hoai smiled gently, signaling for her not to worry. She watched the old woman limp away, a strange warmth blooming inside her. Then she went back to clean up her stall, slung the bamboo basket over her shoulder, and headed home. By then, the sun had risen softly, its light filtering through the trees along the small dirt road she walked every day. Tucked inside her basket were 5 lottery tickets, something she had never bought before, yet today she kept them carefully as though they held quiet meaning. She wasn't hoping for luck. What comforted her was the simple act of helping someone in need. Sometimes, just a small gesture was enough to warm one's heart, just like what Hoai felt on that gentle morning walk. That afternoon, after returning home from the long day at the market, she poured water and told Hung everything, how she sold all her vegetables and how she met the disabled old woman. Hung listened silently, his eyes soft with admiration that she still carried such kindness despite life's hardship. That same afternoon, still full of emotion, Hoai immediately thought of Tiểu San, Hung's younger sister, who had always been by her side during her hardest days. Since Hoai had moved to the new place, Tiểu San never hesitated to help, sometimes cooking for her, other times tending to the garden. That sisterly bond in their little neighborhood made Hoai even more moved. That night, when everything was quiet, she called Tiểu San. As soon as her voice came through the phone, Hoai's voice trembled with emotion she couldn't hide. San, today I won the lottery, and it's the grand prize. The other end fell silent for so long that Hoai thought the call had dropped. A few seconds later, Tieu San gasped. What did you say? You really won? Oh my god. Seriously? How could luck come to you so suddenly? Her voice shook with pure joy. She knew how hard Hoai had struggled, how she had scraped by day after day. Hearing that news felt as if she herself had received the blessing. She kept congratulating her, even shouting to Hoai, who had just returned from overseas and was helping around the house, to share the story. Hoai froze for a moment, then burst into laughter and disbelief. It's like a real-life fairy tale, he said, eyes bright with surprise and happiness. The next morning, Hoai invited everyone to a small diner in town to celebrate. From the moment they gathered, laughter filled the corner of the restaurant. Hoai looked radiant, more than ever before, while Hung kept retelling how he thought he was hallucinating when checking the ticket numbers, making Tieu San and Hoai laugh until they bent over. When the meal was nearly over, Hoai suddenly took out a carefully wrapped lottery ticket. She placed it in front of Tieu San and said gently but firmly, San, this one is for you. When I was struggling the most, you were always there, helping me in every way. Thanks to you, I didn't collapse. I want you to share this blessing with me. Tieu San froze, eyes wide, cheeks flushed with emotion. I can't. This is yours and Hung's money. How can I accept it? Hoai held her hand, shaking her head softly. Please take it, San. Our bond matters more than any ticket. I'm giving it to you because I love you. If you refuse, you'll make me sad. Tieu San looked toward Hung. He smiled and nodded encouragingly. Hoai chimed in too, saying she deserved it. Tears filled Tieu San's eyes, tears of gratitude. She stood and embraced Hoai tightly, whispering through trembling words. Thank you, for seeing me as real family. That day, the little diner rang with laughter, chatter, and clinking glasses. The joy wasn't just about winning the lottery, it was the warmth of human kindness and love, something no amount of money could buy. And in that moment, the four of them, sitting together, felt the future glowing brighter than ever. When the story ended, Hoai handed the 5 lottery tickets to Hung, asking him to check them since she didn't know much about such things. Hung chuckled, took the tickets, and sat down. He teased that maybe today she would get lucky. Hoai only shook her head, half believing, half not, thinking it was just a kind act for the old woman. As the broadcast began announcing the results, Hung examined the numbers carefully. But as soon as he checked the first ticket, he froze. His brows tightened and his eyes widened. He rubbed his eyes and checked again, once, twice. Wait a second, his voice cracked. Hoai, confused, asked anxiously, what's wrong? Hung swallowed hard, lifting the ticket with a trembling hand. It won. This one won the grand prize. Her eyes widened in shock as Hung quickly checked the remaining 4. The results left him completely speechless, every one of the 5 tickets matched the grand prize numbers. He fell back in his seat, mouth open, unable to speak. After a long moment, he suddenly jumped up, staring at Hoai in disbelief. I checked again and again. It's real. I'm not imagining it. For a moment, Hoai stood frozen, then her eyes filled with tears. She covered her mouth, heart racing wildly. Hung couldn't hold back anymore, he pulled her into a tight embrace. She hugged him back, both shaking with joy and emotion. In their small home, once filled with daily worries, their laughter echoed bright and clear, a joy so unexpected, like a gift life offered after so many hard days. And all of it began from a single act of kindness. After finalizing all the documents and completing the procedures, that day Hoai decided to bring Tieu San along to claim the prize. Hung and Hoai were busy, so they let the 2 women handle it themselves, but both reminded them again and again to be careful and not let anyone take advantage of them. On the day they went to receive the prize, Hoai was so nervous her hands turned cold. Meanwhile, Tieu San flitted excitedly beside her like a little bird, reassuring her while being even more thrilled than the actual winner. When the staff handed over the symbolic board for the grand prize, Hoai nearly froze, while Tieu San burst into laughter and hugged her, whispering, "You did so well, Ca. Luck has finally come to you. You have to live happier from now on." After finishing all the paperwork and stepping out of the office, Hoai felt as if a giant weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She thought about the days under the scorching sun and pouring rain at the market, the times she worried about each meal, and the moments she felt she was on the verge of collapsing. This money was like a dream to her, but when she saw homeless children on the street and the makeshift shelters on the way home, her heart sank again. That evening, she told Tieu San, "San, I want to use part of the money for charity. I was blessed with such luck. I want less fortunate children to feel a little joy too." Tieu San didn't even pause before nodding. "I'm with you 100%, Ca. Doing good brings more blessings. We'll do what we can and give it our best." So the two of them began planning. They sat together until late into the night, writing down every detail, what gifts to include, where to buy them, how many children to give to, which location to choose, how many volunteers they needed. Tieu San carefully calculated each item while Hoai wrote everything down, picturing the event in her mind. At one point, Tieu San teased, "If Ca organizes big events like this, people will think you and Oppos, a real showrunner." Hoai laughed, her eyes sparkling. "I just want the kids to have a happy day, like I did that day." A few days later, the two sisters ran all over town selecting gifts. Every box of milk, every notebook, every set of clothes and candies was chosen with care. Tieu San hugged a pile of items in her arms, laughing as she complained, "So many things, Ca, but just imagining how happy the kids will be makes it worth it." Hoai watched her with a warm heart. She didn't just feel she was doing something good, she realized she had sincere people beside her, Hung, Tieu San, and even Hai. As the event day approached, the preparations grew more lively. In Hoai's small house, gift bags piled up everywhere, and the sisters' laughter filled the room. Sometimes happiness doesn't come from money, but from bringing joy to others. Hoai understood that more clearly than ever. The charity day finally arrived, a beautiful morning with gentle sunshine, as if it too wanted to celebrate. Hoai and Tieu San woke very early, checking each gift bag, each milk box, each snack, arranging everything into groups for easy distribution. Hung and Hai came early as well, helping set up tables, organize the walkway, and hang colorful flags to brighten the atmosphere. When everything was ready, small groups of children shyly stepped into the yard, their eyes sparkling with excitement. Some were barefoot, some wore faded old shirts, but their smiles were bright as morning dew. Standing at the main table, Hoai handed out gifts with trembling hands, overwhelmed. "Hello, ma'am." "Thank you, ma'am." "Ma'am, I love this pencil case." Those gentle, sincere voices washed away every bit of exhaustion from the days of preparation. Each time she placed a gift in a child's hands, she felt her heart grow warmer, lighter. Beside her, Tieu San beamed like sunshine. "Everyone line up slowly, okay? There's enough for everyone." The children obediently followed, not pushing, just eagerly eyeing the colorful bags. Hai assisted from behind, while Hung handed out water to parents and rearranged seating to keep everyone comfortable. An elderly man approached Hoai and held her hand. "Thank you so much. Because of you all, the children had a truly joyful day." A young mother with teary eyes told Tieu San, "Thank you. Our family is struggling, seeing my child get something new made me want to cry." Warmth spread like ripples, gratitude followed gratitude, smile followed smile. Several times, Hoai had to turn away to discreetly wipe her tears. Midway through the event, Hai stepped back to watch Hoai bustling around handing out gifts, his gaze softening. Hung glanced at his own sister, then at Hoai, pride swelling in his chest. The entire charity program went smoothly, no issues, just pure joy, laughter, and happy faces glowing like sunshine. When the last gift was handed out, Hoai let out a long breath and turned to Tieu San. San, it's done. I didn't expect people to be this happy. Tieu San linked her arm through hers, her voice as gentle as the breeze. It's because you're kind, Gca. That's why people cherish you. Today, I'm really happy too. The two stood in the middle of the yard, watching the children run to their parents with their gifts. In that moment, Hoai felt she hadn't just brought luck to others, her own heart had been filled as well. A simple charity day, yet warm enough to soothe a corner of the world. That evening, after everything was packed away, all four of them, Hoai, Tieu San, Hung, and Hai, were exhausted. Their hands were sore from carrying things, their legs aching from standing, but their faces glowed with happiness. While tidying her bag, Hoai joked. I probably aged a few years from running around like that today. Tieu San laughed and wrapped her arm around her sister. Aged what? You were the prettiest one at the whole event. Hung and Hai looked at the two women teasing each other and felt at ease. They knew the day hadn't just been successful, it was unforgettable. Hai clapped his hands. All right. If anyone still has energy, I'm taking everyone out to eat. A friend of mine just opened a new place, the food's great. Everyone shouted. Let's go. The restaurant was tucked in a small alley, decorated with warm yellow lights. When the four walked in, Hai's friend welcomed them warmly and seated them at a large table by the window, overlooking the nighttime street. The delicious smell of food filled the air, making everyone's stomach growl. The moment they sat, Hung chuckled. Feels like I've been starving all day. Hoai leaned her cheek on her hand, smiling gently. That's because you were too tired. Hot dishes arrived one by one, sour soup, braised fish, grilled squid, seafood hot pot. Each dish lifted the atmosphere even more. Tieu San eagerly grabbed food nonstop, making Hai laugh. San, eat slowly. There's plenty, no one's going to steal it from you. She replied with a mischievous grin. I'm just too happy, so now I'm hungry too. The whole table burst into laughter. Under the warm lights, with laughter filling the air, the stories of the day and the touching moments at the charity event blended beautifully into a perfect evening. Hung raised his glass. Today was truly meaningful. Not just because we helped others, but because we have each other. Hai added. Exactly. Whatever happens in the future, we face it together. Hoai smiled softly, peace shining in her eyes, something she hadn't felt in years. Thank you, all of you, truly. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Tieu San slipped an arm around her sister, her voice gentle and sincere. You're strong, Gca. We're just the ones behind you. After the charity event and the warm dinner, Tieu San took home the lottery ticket Hoai had given her and placed it inside a small wooden box beside her bed. She sat there for a long time, staring at the ticket as a wave of emotions washed over her, gratitude, disbelief, and the sense that she had just stepped into a new chapter of life. When she found out the ticket had brought her a large sum of money, Tieu San couldn't sleep all night. She kept thinking about her and her mother's living situation, the old, leaky house that dripped every time it rained, the cold nights when wind blew through the cracks, and her mother's worried eyes trying to hide their hardship. Holding the ticket tightly, she whispered to herself like a promise. I'll use this money properly. I won't waste it. I want us to have a real home. The next morning, when she met Hoai again, she smiled brightly but spoke with sincere seriousness. Gca. I've thought it through. I want to use the money you gave me to fix our house. I want my mom and me to have a proper place to live, somewhere warm and safe. My mom is getting old. I just want her to stop suffering. Hearing that, Hoai's heart tightened. She held Tieu San's hand and smiled tenderly. You're doing the right thing, San. I just want you to live better. A safer home will make your mom very happy. Tieu San lowered her head, eyes glistening. I'm deeply grateful to you. I promise I'll use the money wisely. I won't let you down. From that day on, Tieu San began contacting builders, checking material prices, and calculating every expense. Hoai and Hung helped her too, taking her to see sample house designs, suggesting layouts that were warm yet affordable. More than once, Tieu San teared up imagining the day she and her mother would sit inside their new home. No more leaks, no more placing buckets under dripping roofs, no more shivering wind at night. Only peace, warmth, and family. Watching all of this, Hoai felt a deep joy rising in her heart. The good fortune she shared had blossomed into something truly meaningful. And for Tieu San, that lottery ticket was not just money, it was love, faith, and the support Hoai had given her. A new home awaited. And a new life was beginning to unfold.
Hello mọi người, cảm ơn mọi người đã xem hết video hôm nay của mình. Chúc mọi người có một ngày mới vui vẻ, hạnh phúc và một ngày làm việc tràn đầy năng lượng. Hy vọng rằng những video mình mang lại sẽ giúp mọi người vui vẻ và thư giãn sau một ngày làm việc mệt mỏi. Hiện tại thì kênh của mình đang được phát hành vào khung giờ 7 giờ sáng và 7 giờ tối tại Việt Nam. Nếu mà mọi người yêu thích những video của mình ấy, thì nhớ bấm theo dõi để không bỏ lỡ những video mới nhất. Cảm ơn mọi người đã lắng nghe một phút chia sẻ của mình. Hy vọng rằng mọi người vẫn sẽ yêu thích kênh của mình và đồng hành cùng với mình trong thời gian sắp tới. Và đặc biệt là để tạo động lực để mình làm nhiều video hơn cho mọi người cùng xem. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở những video tiếp theo nha.